Hey guys, what's up? So Standard's going to a 3-year rotation, and they're going to extend Midnight Hunt, Crimson Vow, Kamigawa, and Streets of New Capenna for another year instead of rotating them out this September like would have normally happened. And how does this affect us as investors? Short answer, I think it doesn't really matter much, and to the extent that it matters at all, it is only very slightly beneficial. So if you think about these 4 sets that were supposed to have rotated out this September, they probably would have been declared out of print in May this month, and that's why WotC made the announcement. Now, there's plenty of singles from those sets in the market. The market is thoroughly soaked in singles from those cards because the sets have been out there for a year, 14 months, 18 months, if you go all the way back to Midnight Hunt. Maybe it's 19 or 20 months now, I don't know exactly, but they are old sets and there's plenty of singles to satisfy the market. Additionally, the draft booster boxes, which is where you would expect most people to be getting the singles if extending the standard legal life really causes an uptick in the demand for the singles, they're going to come from draft boxes. Before I started recording this video, I went and looked on Amazon, and right now, WotC is dumping Midnight Hunt, Kamigawa, and Streets draft boxes below wholesale on Amazon. So, if to the extent that it may actually get people to want to buy any more of those singles over the next additional year of standard legality because they synergize with something from the upcoming 4 standard sets that'll come out in the next year, it's probably not going to soak up enough of the singles already in the market, and to the extent that it does, it won't really stimulate that many new booster boxes to be opened to raise the price of booster boxes enough that it causes WotC to go back and do another print run. So I think in the long term, it really doesn't matter to us as investors. And, we should expect that over time, more than 0 times, WotC is going to need to go back and do another print run during a set's 3rd year of standard legality, but I don't really see it with any of these sets. It's going to take a special set to get out into its 3rd year of legality and the market not be thoroughly saturated with cards and not have enough boxes that it can handle the little bit of additional buying stimulation that having it be standard for another year causes. So as a kind of thought experiment we can think about last year's set of standard expansions that rotated out. So it was Zendikar Rising, Kaldheim, Strixhaven, and AFR. And if we look today, singles are cheap. Boxes, booster boxes at least, are still mostly below $100 for those sets. I know Zendikar Rising's around $90. I know the set boxes for AFR and Strixhaven are still below $100 on TCG Player. So we don't typically expect to see any significant uptick in a standard set's boxes in that first year after they rotate out of legality anyway. 1, the demand drops way off for the cards. And 2, there's still just a lot of inventory in the system. It takes time to tighten up. But what we know from all the history of TCG investing is that on the long timeline, the population of sealed boxes only goes down, the supply only tightens, the price only goes up. And even though these will have 1 additional year of standard legality, it really doesn't change that. And I don't think it's going to cause very many instances over time of additional print runs of the boxes. So as investors, I just don't really see that affecting us. Now, who does it affect? I think card stores, it's good for card stores because they have a little bit more of a reason for customers to buy those cards for another year. It's a weak reason, but hey, the cards remain relevant. The sealed product, the booster packs in stores remain relevant for another year. It helps card stores a little bit. Does it help the standard format? I'm the last guy you should be asking about that. I like pre-modern. I would think just as a first level analysis, yeah, if you put more cards in the format, it'll be more dynamic. The metagame will be probably better, and maybe the format will gain in popularity. In a perfect world, we would hope that standard would be the beating heart of competitive play of Magic, and that Commander would not be the most played format. The problem with Commander being the most played format is it's non-rotating. It doesn't stimulate a lot of new sales of products to help card stores to keep the game going along, to keep the money flowing in the system. And so when people can have, say, 8, 10 Commander decks that they really like, a new expansion comes out and they identify 1 or maybe 2 or maybe 3 cards from the expansion for each of those decks. They go and they snap up those singles and that's all they want to buy. If Standard could be the most popular format, then people would spend a lot more money and they would feel better spending that money and having those cards eventually become stranded when the sets rotate out of legality, which now it'll be 3 years, so it'll feel like they get more value out of those purchases. So if WotC could actually manage to engineer Standard to the point where it started regaining popularity and becoming the most popular format, it would be really good for the entire network. There would be more money flowing into the network. So those are the ways that that it benefits something in the network. I don't really think it affects investors a lot. And ultimately, what we want as investors is a healthy network. We want money coming in, and we want people to be buying the cards because that puts higher demand on them, which drains cards out. Which we as investors, we're the ones who come in and backfill those drained cards in the future with what we've put back in our closet. And so the most important thing for us is that the game remains healthy. And so if WotC can actually make Standard more popular, if that helps card stores host more events, get more sales, then that's good for us in the long term. It's the reason why when LSS announced Fab 2.0 about 14 months ago, I remember reading through it the first time and people were asking me, what do you think? And I said, I think it's great. And there were these hot takes from some people who said, cold foils will be unlimited printed and there's no more first edition boxes. This is terrible for investors. And I looked at it and I thought everything on Fab 2.0 was great for players. It was great for growing the game, making it more popular, making it more fun, making it more accessible, and growing the community, which means more money pouring into the network. And that is what's good for investors in the long run. So 3-year Standard legality, yeah, it'll have a tiny effect, maybe very tiny positive effect for us as investors. Otherwise, doesn't matter a lot. Hopefully, WotC can get together engineering of the Standard format in general. That would improve things for us as investors a lot more. That's my take on it. Let me know what you think, guys. Otherwise, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Join me on Final Trade. Join the Patreon.